Right, so back to the build. The plan for this video is, obviously I've said before that the fridge is going here and it's going to face this seat. So rather than it sitting too far forward, I've put it into place, I've sat it on the floor. When you open the door, it just catches the wee edge of metal on the seat here. So what I need to do is I need to build a higher floor so that I can push it back onto the angled wheel arch there. And when I open the door, it won't catch. It'll sit a wee bit recessed here at the front of the cabinet, and I think it'll have a better look. So yeah, let's crack on with that. Right, first of all we'll get rid of these bottles, they're not going there anyway. And what I need to do is I need to measure the gap, decide how, excuse me a minute, back across. So I need to decide how high I'm going to do this as well, which I've not figured out yet, so we'll measure the gap first. So it's 18 inches across. The depth will vary because of the angle of the wheel arch there, so that's why the higher I put it up, the further back the fridge will sit. I don't want it too far, but just recessed a little here in the frame. So we've opted for 13 inches back. Right, so as you can see, that's the frame all cut to size. For the rails, because I'm not removing them, you just damage this floor. I've tried to get them up on a previous bus of mine. So I've cut the notches in just so that everything sits flush. So yeah, I'll cut a bit of board for there now, and then I'll put the fridge in and see how it looks. Right, so that's the floor in. Seems quite sturdy, don't know if it's high enough, but we'll leave it at that just now, and we'll put the fridge in and see how it looks. Right, so that's the fridge in there. Obviously it still moves about. I don't know how you secure that. I'll have to put maybe a bracket on there somewhere, but for the purpose of testing this, I'm quite happy with where the front of the fridge sits in regards to the cabinet. It opens up. There's plenty of room there, there's probably a centimetre gap between the chair and the door. So yeah, that's exactly where the fridge will sit. Like I say, I've not looked into how it fits in and not moving. There must be a way of putting a bracket in there. If any you know, put in a comment. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. Right, so I've watched a lot of camper van builds on YouTube. They make it look so easy, and it kind of looks on film like it's just been thrown together in a matter of days. But trying to film this van and fit it in around other tasks that life brings, it's taken a bit of time. So I've not been near the van for about 5 days now. So the last time I worked on it, what I did was I got the front facing here in front of the fridge. Now I'm not too happy with how it's worked out. The top of my fingers catch when I try and open the door, and the edge when the door's open is preventing the door open wide enough. And when I first did it, I'm sure I made some footage that I said, and there's the thing, I'm quite happy with that, don't want to open too much in it, but I'm not happy with it. I've totally changed my mind on it, and I'm going to take that facing off before I start doing anything else, and I'm going to open up the hole at the front of the facing so that it's a bit bigger for opening up the fridge, because it's bothering me. And I think if things start to bother me at this early stage, once it's complete, I'm not going to be happy with it. So yeah, the things that are not quite right, I'm going to put right, and then I'm going to continue with the build today. So first things first, this facing on the end of the unit here, round the fridge, that's the way to come off. It's going to be adjusted, and then I'll start with the rest of the build. Okay. So as you can see, we're doing the cuts here on this piece of worktop. It's not the kind of worktop that we wanted for this van, but what we're going to do is we'll get the nice worktop at a later date, and then we'll use this one as a template, because I'm not wanting to spend a fortune on a nice piece of wood and muck it up with my cuts. So if I do that with this cheap stuff, then it'll be fine when I use this as a template on the real hard wood, and it means we can probably start using the van a bit quicker as well. Here we go again. So as you can see, I'm using this white stuff that I was using for the facings to make a template for the cooker and sink. Yesterday was an absolute nightmare. I did have it as worktop, but I made such a hash of cutting the cooker hole out that that whole panel went in the bin. I've got some wood for the worktop now, but rather than mess that up, I'll make a template with this, and then I'll sort of draw around it and then cut the wood. Right, so as you can see, that's the cooker in. Had to enlist the help of one of my mates, but together we got all the cuts done, got it in, the screws are all in holding it secure, and I've attached the worktop to the frame. So the next stage is going to be putting the drain section on the sink. Maybe should have done that first, and then I'll have to fit a tap. The problem is I've ordered a tap, it's got hot water and cold water supply. I've ordered the wrong tap, I only needed the cold water. So I'll see if I can block the hot water pipe on the tap, and if not, I'm going to have to wait until I order a new tap. But onwards and upwards. Right, so I've made this clip-on panel here. It just clips off. I'm going to put my electrics at the back of it so that you can clip it off should you need to do any adjustments to the power. So yeah, as you can see, this one doesn't quite line up. It just clips on there. But like I say, I just want to be able to get in the electrics easily if I trip a fuse or something like that. As you can see, the fuses are all behind the wires. It's just ease of access really, that's why I'm doing that bit. So the plan is that will sit there, obviously the other way around. We'll have plenty of room for other things. So I'll take that off and I'll cut the hole. fix in there. Just have to get the screws and attach it in, and then I'll clip it back up on the wall. Right, that's that panel clipped back in. It's not perfect. I'm going to put another clip on the bottom corner, but for now at least I've got the switchboard in. Noisy motorbike, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm going to run a cable. I've got some 16 amp cable, 3-core. I'm going to run that in and attach that to a plug. That'll be plugged into the inverter under the seat. So that's the next job. We'll set the centre screen here. Right, I'd just like to end this video here. I've done a few clips of what I'm doing. Obviously you've just seen them now. But yeah, the cabinet's come together, the cooker's in, the switchboard's in here. I've run a mains cable, 16 amp, into the back and put a socket on that. There'll be a plug on the other end of that, and that'll go into my inverter, which is going to be housed under this seat that I'm sitting on. So that's going to be switchable for the microwave that'll be at the back of the cabinet. What I also need to do is I need to get a 12-volt socket that will be mounted to the rear of the cabinet, and the TV that's going to be up in that corner will be able to plug in through the 12-volt socket there. So yeah, I'm now kind of, my kitchen unit's kind of together, it's no finished, but the next step for me, so that I can start to use the van and just work through it bit by bit, is get the power all finished, get the gas in, get the tap finished and the water pipes in. Can start using the van as a day van type of thing until I finish everything off, but I'd rather it wasn't just a building site and I could start using the van and getting out and about. So it's just a case of get everything functioning and then start building the rest of it really. So my next step, now that the kitchen cabinet's built together, is finish off the wiring. So because I've left the channels in the floor for the old sort of clamps for wheelchairs and seats and whatnot, the channels worked as a perfect cavity to run power. So I'm basically going straight from under this seat, straight through under the fridge and into the back of the cabinet. I've used hardly any cable at all. My original intention was to come up through this plastic and down through the roof, down that cavity there, and then into the cabinet. I would have used a lot more cable and I would have had to start pulling my roof back, taking this handle off. It was so much work, and for the sake of just running it through that floor, it took me seconds. So I'm not happy with these rails in the floor. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, but the idea is that once this van's all together and everything's in place, then I'm just going to get an off-cut of carpet, which will be quite a thick pile. And I know it's no easy to keep clean, but it'll be cut to the point where I can just lift it out, take it in the house, give it a quick carpet shampoo, and then put it back down. It also gives me direct access to the cabling and everything that I'm running through the floor, because as you know, things can go wrong, and I just want to be able to get to everything and correct anything that's not quite right. So access is key. I've done previous vans where you build it in, everything's working fine, and then for whatever reason, if something goes wrong, if something's been cutting through a wire or anything like that, and you kind of get to it, it's an absolute nightmare. It really is. So I would say to anybody that's building a van, make sure you can access everything that you're putting into it. My last van, the Vivaro, that I've got a few videos on, when I put the mains hookup in the side of it, I cut a hole in the side of the van, and I had the panel all carpeted out, but then I can't remember what it was I was doing, but I needed access to it again, and I ended up having to cut the carpet away. So what I did was I made a hatch just in case water ingress from the outside or anything like that. So I made a hatch on the inside, which was just a panel with the little clips, kind of like I've done to the side of this, and you were able to pull that out and access all the cabling and everything that went into the switchboard. So yeah, access is key to anybody that's building a van. Make sure you don't box in important components that you might need to get to in the future. So for now, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.